Anyway, though, so they do that. They do that. Now, people were scattered. So the Cathars were scattered. Okay, they were not destroyed.
This is a self-organizing collective. It goes, that's what the, okay.
So it goes all the way back to the Templars. And, you know, the history of it is really interesting because the Khazarians keep trying to subsume that history. I'll give you a little brief bit of it.
Right, that's what's confusing, is that you can't tell now from my perspective is looking back on it, who's who, because the bad guys seem to be there in this, you know, what I'm saying about
they will always, okay, so there's psychological warfare.
Demolay, that's in the Masonic lodges. I mean, yeah.
Right. Okay. So the lodges, anything with, okay. So the Cathars have all these sayings that promulgate from generation to generation. And one of them basically is that if there's a building, there's an organization. All right. If there's an organization, man is not free.
Yes, I 100% figured that one out.
Okay. So secret societies, that's a building.
Yep.
Right. All right. So no man in a secret society is free. And so Cathars don't do that. All right. So here's the thing. My mom's people were in Rouen in France. Sorry.
That's okay.
They were slaughtered in that crusade. They made their way down through Spain, through southern France, a lot of Cathars in southern France, and they made their way to Portugal. And from Portugal, they were driven out in the crusade, kept going after them, and they were moved to the Azores. From the Azores, they took to the boats and they sailed to the New World, and they became the Pirates of the Caribbean. And so we see the Khazarians in the form of Disney attempting to co-opt all of the Catharian ethos that was the Pirates of the Caribbean. So
yeah, that makes so much sense now, and especially that saying, because I've been saying that free people don't need hierarchy, that anytime you see a hierarchy at the top of it, there will be ultimate evil.
Right.
And I just kind of woke up with that one day. I said, that is the problem here. Free, we think it's normal.
No,
but it's not normal.
Here's the thing. The Catharian tradition has no pope. It has no priest. It has people that are bogomils. Okay, funny word, and it means created by God. Okay, the godmen, the bogomil. And so these people naturally arise. And so you can't train for it. You are born to it within the Cathari tradition.
Now, the Russian Orthodox, or I should say Eastern Orthodox Church, they're clearly not, I mean, there's something though the Khazarian Mafia doesn't like about them, because they just drove 220 of the brethren, the priests out of their churches in. How does that play in? I mean, they split off from the Catholic Church.
Right. And that's because the Catholic Church had been subsumed by the Khazarians.
Right. So that was what it was about.
Through infiltration, which is recognizable if you see it, right? If you're aware to have the eyes to see it.
But interesting, do you know what they say in the history? And you probably do, but I'm just going to add a little orthopedic twist. Here's what they say, because I read this in Russian years ago when I was studying Russian, about the history of the schism between the Eastern and Western churches. And it was over whether you blessed people with 2 fingers or 3 fingers. That's what they claim the schism was about in the old Russian literature, you know, translated from the old Slavonic. Anyway, but in orthopedics, the joke is, and it's not a joke, we believe this, that it's because all those old popes had dupatrons. And so their fingers came down, seriously. So some of them could only straighten these fingers and others could only straighten that finger. And so it's whether you blessed with, you know, whether you had early dupatrons or later dupatrons, depending on how you blessed people. You know?
Okay. So, all right. So that's a funny thing, but there's another interpretation of that, right?
Okay.
Bahopmet is 3 fingers.
The what net?
Bahopmet, the
oh my gosh.
God. the god of the abdomen open.
Yeah, I thought that was one finger up and two fingers down. No?
No,
Okay.
it was actually three fingers with the one finger and the thumb
I
crossed.
yeah, I have seen that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So see, it's all interconnected, all the symbols.
It really is interconnected. They live with symbols.
Linguist, right? This is why I'm a linguist, because even symbols are language if you know how to look at all of this, right? And it's just all around us continuously. And universe provides and guides, right?
And actually, you know what? I'm giving a talk. I was asked to give this talk on symbolism.
Rubber armbands with codes stamped all
Color
around.
coded. Yep.
Color coded. Not just the colors, but I mean the various images for the various
Right.
cartels, who owns you and this kind of stuff, right? And so it's way deep in there. It's really interesting. Language and how it arose and what it does to the human mind and all of this, I find to be quite fascinating. The symbology that Lin Biao hooked up to was extremely powerful. So his big deal was the rage where they destroyed the old in terms of the buildings,
which I
tearing
see
down
coming.
the statues. Right. Well, here's the thing.
How do we avoid that?
They've tried that here. Okay, so they've spent their wad, in my opinion. All right.
Oh, good. That
Okay.
was their attempt with the BLM.
Correct. And they don't have.
Work.
Okay, no, it didn't work. All right, because the conditions that allowed them to do it in China also had the economic imperative driving everybody, because everybody was so abysmally poor at the time that they joined the economic revolution to the cultural revolution and then subsumed it in the cultural revolution and took off. And you can't do that here in the US. Plus,
well, they can't do it before. Now, how about this new economic crisis that they're fomenting? Is that going to change the equation?
That'll change the equation, but not in the way that they're that their activities would allow them to take advantage of it. Because here's the thing, BLM was paid for.
Yeah,
all those donations, all of the companies, corporations funneling billions of dollars through the BLM to support that whole effort. As we get into the financial crisis, dollars will become meaningless, right? And so we'll hit a crisis where electricity in the form of digits as a method of payment won't work. All right, so because it'll be coming from a centralized
CBDC.
source. Correct. And even
not going to work. Yeah, I don't think so.
Even now, the ATMs and stuff. All right. So we're going to come up to an economic crisis here where no matter what digit you have in a bank, it won't make any difference, simply because there won't be goods available, or they'll be available at such high prices you wouldn't be able to transfer and acquire.